Today I want to do a review of one of my latest reads, and it was a book that I picked up on a whim. I saw the cover, I read the synopsis, and I thought that's what I want to read. And this is The Last Woman in the Forest by Diane Lebequetz. I'm sure I am butchering her last name, but I've never heard about this book and I've never read from this author before, so I thought I'd give it a try in the middle of summer, reading with this kind of wintry scene that I really enjoy in books. We're gonna follow Marianne, who is a conservation worker that is going from one side to another. Now, her latest contract takes her deep into the oil sands region of northern Alberta, Canada, and she is to study the effects of the oil industry in the wildlife, in the local wildlife. There she meets her mentor. Her mentor's name is Tate. He's a very charming man. She seems to be like a very naive girl, and they start this beautiful relationship where she's really falling in love with him. Eventually, after they start this relationship, she needs to go to another place, to a different study, and he also moves from that one spot and goes into some kind of, I don't remember specifically, but I think it's some kind of a bear study. Now, he tragically dies, and when she comes back to deal after his death with everything that he left behind, and including his ashes, she meets his sister, and she tells a different story about Tate. And it seems like nothing that he told her is true. Now, she starts to think about this one specific event he told her about that was very eerie. Apparently, Tate, as he was going deep into the wilderness in one of his studies, he stumbled upon a dead body of a naked girl who was by the creek. The way he described the eyes and the scene itself, it would have been something that you'd see immediately after that person is killed. But he's describing that time at a later time. It's like it couldn't have happened if that body was dead already for a while. And so she starts to investigate and see, did I really know this man? And did he do anything to this girl? Like, is he responsible for her murder? After that, she kind of contacts this investigator who is investigating that death and the death of other 3 girls that are believed to be killed by the same person. So we spend the rest of the book as she investigates to prove that he's innocent, as the detective Nick is trying to kind of connect him to those murders. Now, this book starts with a gripping scene. If you read the very first chapter, you're hooked into this narrative, this story, and the characters in that first chapter feel very, very real. It feels like a situation that could happen, and it's kind of scary, and I think that's why it's so gripping. The writing in this book is amazing. I thought that it was very thought-provoking. The characters were written in a very feel real kind of way. It also describes this atmosphere that you see here in the covers. It's described throughout the book. It feels like you're right there. You can feel the snow. You can see how she's tracking the relationship with the dogs, how they're trained, a little bit of her work. All that is connected to her own investigation to try to prove to herself, because he's not being accused of murdering these girls, but she's trying to prove to herself. The way she investigates this, it's almost like profiling him. And I wanted to take notes myself. The way that, all the clues were developing, I wanted to make notes and kind of keep up with what was happening. I also loved the characters. They were not like those whiny, unlikable characters. They all had strong personalities, and they all fulfill a purpose in this book, and it kind of interconnected with what the twist was going to be at the end. Another thing that I need to say about this book is that it felt, at least to the thriller books that I've read before, it read very differently. It read a little bit more profound. It read more, I hate to use the word smart, but it felt like a smarter plot, if you will. And so that's something that I really did enjoy about this book. Now, the other thing that I really enjoy about this book, and it sounds super creepy and kind of crazy, is the POV of the victims. We will read from each one of these victims and how he got to each one of them, or the perpetrator got to each one of them, and why he picked them specifically. So I thought that those chapters were the ones that would grab the most your attention, because those were the fast-paced pieces of this book, because in the end it was a very slow burn. Smart written, you kind of want to know what happened, but at the same time you are following a lot of details that it makes sense, but makes it a little bit of a slow burn. Overall, what I love about this book is that it seemed to be a very unique concept. It seems different from every other thriller that I've read before. It was refreshing. I did not know what to expect. And even though the twist in the end could have been used, in this particular book, I couldn't see that coming. Maybe you read it and you can predict it. I couldn't. I thought it was going to go into a completely different route. And the last, few chapters of this book will really have you guessing your predictions. When you think you know who did it, it's going to be something completely different. And the way that it was done, for some people, could be like, it's been used before, but I don't think that that's what you expect as you read this book. Now, if you want a Riley Sager kind of thriller, this is not it. There's not a million twists. There's not a million turns. You're never wondering if it's supernatural or if it's an evil presence. You're always kind of trying to find out, that a person did this, and a man did this, but at the same time, at one point I thought, what if this is a woman? How could that would be pulled off? A lot of things that make you think as you're reading this book. But this is not a twisty, kind of crazy, suspend your disbelief for a minute because this ending is out of this world. No, I thought the ending was smart. I thought the characters were great. I thought the book was unique. The writing style was amazing. But at the same time, this is not your Frida McFadden or Riley Sager kind of thriller. The author's note was very telling of why these characters feel so real, why these characters seem like this could happen, like this could have happened. I rated this book 4 stars, and the only reason why I only gave it 4 stars, it was because of a slow burn. I'd rather have a book that is kind of fast-paced, but it makes sense in this case because of the way that it's written and because of the kind of case that they were covering. But I thought it was really smartly done, and I thought it was very refreshing because it felt very unique. No, it's not a 5-star, but it's definitely a 4-star. And if you want to read a very different kind of unique thriller, I would say this is a slow burn book, but I think you'll enjoy it. So thank you so much for being there today, guys. I truly appreciate you coming back, and I'll see you guys next time.